The stranger didn't say hello. He shoved a package into my hands and whispered, "Ooh, watch this alone, before it's too late." Then he walked away like he just handed me a bomb. Blames, for a second, I just stood there, holding it, while the farmer's market buzzed around me like nothing had happened. Ding kids laughing, vendors shouting, music playing, normal, too normal, which made the fear crawl up my spine even faster. I'd been coming to this market every Saturday for 30 years. Same tomatoes, same apples, same small talk. Safe, predictable. Nothing strange ever happened here. Until now, the man hadn't been shopping. He hadn't been browsing. Meowed. He'd been watching me, standing 20 feet away like he was building the courage to approach. Mid-30s, delivery company jacket, pale, nervous, the kind of nervous you see on someone who knows something they shouldn't, mister. Hayes? He'd said, "Nobody calls me that unless they already know who I am, yes? And you're Nash Hayes' father, right?" The way he said my son's name tightened something in my chest. Dan, not casual, not friendly, careful, like the name itself was dangerous. Beleens. Before I could ask how he knew Nash, he pushed the box into my hands. I can't keep this anymore," he muttered. "You deserve the truth. Truth. Not delivery. Not signature. Truth." Then he stepped back like he was afraid even talking to me might get him in trouble. "I tried to ignore it," he said quietly. "But I have a family. I can't carry this." "Carry what?" I asked. But he was already walking away, fast, head down, like a man escaping a crime scene. He disappeared into the crowd. Just like that, and suddenly I was alone, holding something that didn't belong to me. A small brown paper package. Engine light, ordinary, except for one thing written across the top in black marker. Nash. AAA's. My son's name. Made my stomach dropped. That didn't make sense. Nash wasn't even in the country. Ben, he'd been traveling for work for 2 years now. Dubai, Singapore, Tokyo. Bemjured. At least, that's what Sloan always told me. Blin. So why would some stranger here in Oregon have a package with his name, and why did he look terrified? Pluminzia. I carried it back to my truck like it might explode. My hands were shaking so badly, I dropped my keys twice. "Relax," I muttered to myself. "It's nothing. Probably paperwork." Something stupid. "You're overreacting," but that man's voice kept echoing in my head. "You deserve the truth." Man, the drive home felt longer than usual. 10 miles of empty road, fields on both sides, no cars, no noise. Just the tires humming and my thoughts getting louder. Every mile a new question. Why Nash? Why me? Why alone? Lanes. By the time the ranch came into view, my chest felt tight. The house looked the same as always. Blindy old white paint, wide porch, 30 acres of silence stretching behind it. Rose and I built this place 40 years ago. After she passed, the quiet had turned heavy. But today, it felt different, not peaceful, watching, like the house already knew something I didn't. Mendy set the package on the kitchen table, the same oak table where Nash used to do homework. Lemder where Rose baked pies every Sunday. Family memories built into the wood. And now this thing sat in the middle of it like a threat. I stared at his name. Black ink. Emden messy handwriting. Too real. A cold thought slid into my mind. Meandies. What if my son isn't where they say he is? What if he never left Oregon at all? I laughed under my breath, nervous. "Stupid, Henry," I said to myself. "It's just a box." But my hand wouldn't move. And because deep down, I already knew something was wrong, and once I opened it, there was no going back. Slowly, I reached for the tape, held my breath. and peeled it back. When the box opened, my life split into before and after. Inside wasn't paperwork. It wasn't a gift. Dummians. It was proof. A USB drive, a folded letter, and a photograph. That was it. 3 small things. Blins. But my hands were already shaking. I picked up the photo first. Means the second I saw it, the air left my lungs. It was Nash. No doubt. Same jawline. Same crooked smile line. Same scar above his eyebrow from falling out of the barn when he was 12. Mum's my son, but thinner, way thinner, cheeks hollow, eyes sunken, like he hadn't slept in weeks. Land like something had been draining the life out of him. And the look on his face. Not fear. Not sadness. Means something worse, hopelessness. The kind of look a man has when he stopped expecting to be saved. He was standing in front of a gray concrete wall. No windows, no decorations, no sunlight. Just blank institutional gray. Like a hospital or a jail. He held a newspaper in his hands. At first, I didn't understand why. Then my eyes found the date printed across the top. April, Sursith, 6 months ago. My heart stuttered. Mend 6 months ago. Sloan told me Nash was in Tokyo closing some big consulting contract. Man, she'd even called me that night. Said the time difference was brutal. Said he was exhausted. Said he'd call properly next week, but this photo said something else. This photo said he wasn't overseas. Banned. He wasn't traveling. He hadn't left Oregon at all. He'd been somewhere with concrete walls and no windows. Bleen, somewhere that made him look like that. My fingers tightened around the picture. No, that's not right, I muttered. Timms, there had to be an explanation. There had to be. Because the alternative was too ugly to even think about. Then I forced myself to put the photo down, picked up the letter. The handwriting was cramped, messy, rushed. Like someone writing while watching the door, Mr. Hayes. My name is Dean Shaw. I work for Quick Ship Deliveries. M. Dean, the stranger. My route includes a private facility outside Portland. For the past year, I've delivered packages there for your daughter-in-law. My stomach dropped. Facility, not office. Not company, facility. I wasn't supposed to ask questions. Good pay, cash, no records. But 3 weeks ago, I saw your son through a window. My chest tightened so hard, it hurt. He looked at me like a prisoner looking outside for the first time. Prisoner. The word echoed in my skull. I checked the delivery log. Nash Hayes. I searched for you. You deserve to know. I can't stay quiet anymore. Oh, that was it. No goodbye. No signature. Just fear pressed into the paper. Dangder. For a long moment, the kitchen felt too small, too quiet. Dense. All those years, Sloan had smiled and explained everything, so smoothly. Business trips, promotions, international clients, excuses for missed holidays, excuses for missed birthdays, excuses for why my son never called. And I believed her because it was easier. Because after Rose died, I didn't have the strength to question anything. God. What if I chose the lie on purpose? My eyes moved to the last thing on the table. MD the USB drive, small, black, silent. Letters could lie, photos could be staged. But videos... Videos don't lie. Danced. If something was on that drive, it was real. Rose's old laptop sat on the counter. Glanced. The one she bought so Nash, and I could stay connected. The irony almost made me sick. I opened it. Dan plugged in the USB. A folder appeared instantly. 6 video files, dated across the last 14 months. And my pulse started hammering. 6 recordings. Why would someone secretly film my house? Pun. Why would a stranger risk his life to get this to me? You know? And why did every date line up with days? Sloane visited. A cold realization slid down my spine. These weren't random. These were evidence. My hand hovered over the mouse. If I clicked, everything changed. If I didn't, it meant I could pretend none of this happened. Pretend Nash was still traveling. Pretend life was normal. For half a second, that lie sounded tempting. Then I looked back at the photo. My son's eyes glanced that silent plea, and I knew, whatever the truth was, he'd been facing it alone. Mans, I wasn't about to look away, too. I clicked the first video. The first video loaded, and my own kitchen stared back at me. For a second, my brain couldn't process it. The angle was wrong. Too high, too still. Like someone had mounted a camera near the ceiling. Watching. Recording. My house. A cold chill slid down my spine. Nobody installs cameras in their own kitchen like that. Not unless they're hiding something or spying. The timestamp blinked in the corner. November. Serbath. R. Sursuspidem. Beam's cattle auction day. I'd been gone all afternoon. The screen showed nothing at first. Just sunlight through the window. Bren's. Rose's coffee mug by the sink. Quiet. Peaceful. Then the back door unlocked. And Sloane walked in. Means my heart stopped. Not knocking. Not calling out. Just unlocking the door like she owned the place. She stepped inside slowly, eyes scanning the room. Careful, listening, like she was making sure nobody was home. What are you doing? I whispered at the screen. Shouldn't say my name. Didn't check the bedrooms. Didn't hesitate. She went straight to Rose's old office, straight to the file cabinet. Damn the ends. Like she already knew exactly what she wanted. She opened it, pulled out folders, property deeds, tax returns, insurance papers, and then she started photographing everything. Click, 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 fast, efficient, mechanical, not reading, not curious, crunching like evidence. Then 4 minutes later, she put every paper back perfectly, closed the drawer, locked the door, gone. Banned. If I hadn't seen this, I never would have known she was there. My stomach twisted. Okay. Maybe once. Maybe there was some explanation. Maybe she forgot something. Maybe, I clicked the second video, different date, same camera, same empty house, same back door unlocking. Sloane again. This time she went downstairs. Straight to storage. Jen Rose's old boxes, personal things, letters, photos, keepsakes. She tore through them like they meant nothing. Frustrated. Impatient. Bams, like she wasn't finding what she wanted. Then she left. No emotion, no hesitation. Just mission complete. My chest tightened. That wasn't checking on family. That wasn't helping me. That was searching. I opened the next file, then the next, and my blood slowly turned cold. Different days. Doing different clothes. Same pattern. Wait until I leave. Unlock the door. Go straight to paperwork. Photograph everything. Leave no trace. Deans. Over and over. For 14 months. Like my house was a vault. She kept trying to crack. Minja, like my life, was something she was inventorying. Not once, not twice. Dozens of times. Bullied. How many dinners had we shared while she already had copies of my documents on her phone? How many times had she hugged me goodbye? Then come back an hour later to search my drawers? The thought made me feel sick. I clicked the last video, and this one hit harder than the rest. Because this one wasn't the office, wasn't the basement. It was my bedroom, my private bedroom. Bing. She walked straight to Rose's nightstand, broke in the top drawer, pulled out her jewelry box. My throat tightened. That box held Rose's wedding ring, her letters, little memories she never let out of her sight. Things sacred. Dem Sloan lifted the false bottom, started digging underneath, searching, cold, focused, detached, like it was just another hiding place. Jean, not a widow's memories, not a life, just an obstacle. That's when it clicked. She wasn't snooping. Meant she wasn't curious. She was hunting for something specific, something legal, something valuable, um, something she still hadn't found, you know? And suddenly everything lined up. Denon's letter, the facility, my son locked away, and Sloan secretly copying every document tied to my house, my land, my assets. This wasn't care, Dumbian. This was preparation to take control of everything. A slow, sick realization crawled through my chest. Manda. If Nash wasn't traveling, if he was locked somewhere against his will, and Sloan had legal guardianship, and she was hunting for financial records, then this wasn't about helping him, it was about replacing him. Jean erasing him, and once she finished with my son, what stopped her from doing the same thing to me? The kitchen suddenly felt too quiet, too exposed. For the first time in 40 years, in my own house didn't feel safe. I stared at the frozen screen, Sloan mid-step, collected forever between rooms. Ben smiling in every family photo, calling me dad, all along, breaking into my home like a thief. My pulse hammered in my ears. Because one question kept repeating in my head, if this is what she was doing to me, Lanes, what the hell was she doing to my son? Rose knew, not fear, not Sloan, Rose. That thought hit me so hard I actually stepped back from the laptop. Because suddenly, something I hadn't thought about in years came rushing back, a small brass key, paper tag, Team Bio, Riverside Community Bank, box, Arbex T. I'd found it the week after Rose died, turned it over once. Meaned, didn't even ask what it opened. Grief makes everything feel pointless, so I shoved it in a drawer and forgot. But now, right, after watching Sloan sneak through my house like a burglar, that key didn't feel random anymore. It felt hidden, protected, like Rose had tucked something away where no one else could reach it. Bam, my pulse started climbing, because Rose wasn't paranoid. If she hid something, she had a reason. A damn good one. The next morning, I didn't make coffee, didn't check the mail. Yum. I drove straight into town with that key digging into my pocket, like it was burning through the fabric. Lance. Every car behind me felt too close, every red light too long. After those videos, my brain wouldn't relax. And how long had Sloan been planning this? And how much time did I have left? The bank looked small, ordinary, forgettable, exactly the kind of place you hide secrets. Inside, the clerk smiled like it was any normal day. Morning, Mr. Hayes. My voice felt tight. I need to open my wife's safety deposit box. 5 minutes later, I was standing inside the vault, thick metal door, concrete walls, no windows. Then the door shut behind me with a heavy thud, too loud, too final. Bland, like something locking me in with the truth. She slid the long metal box across the table, left me alone. Just me, and whatever Rose had decided I wasn't ready to see, my hands trembled as the key turned. Click. The lid lifted. Inside, kit a folder, property deeds, and a sealed envelope, my name written in Rose's handwriting. Henry. That was it. Just my name, like she knew someday I'd be sitting here alone. Reading this, my chest tightened. Memdi opened it. My dearest Henry. I had to sit down. Her handwriting felt like hearing her voice again. Soft. Careful. Familiar. Then the words hit. My instincts about Sloane have troubled me for years. Years. Not weeks. Not months. Years. I've noticed lies. Money that doesn't add up. The way she watches Nash. Not with love, but with calculation. Calculation. That word didn't belong in a marriage. I don't trust her. Simple. Blunt. Rose never said things like that lightly. I created the Hayes family trust quietly with Chase Holt. My heart skipped, stunned. If anything happens to Nash, everything is protected. I flipped the page faster. The ranch, the land, the savings, Dillian's. Then the line that made my blood run cold. She gets nothing, nothing. Not a dollar. Not this house. Not the land. Nothing. My pulse hammered. Rose had seen it coming. Man, somehow she'd seen the danger years before I did. I hope I'm wrong, she wrote. But if you're reading this, fight for our son. Fight. Not protect, not wait. Fight, like she already knew this would be a war. My eyes burned. Rose had been gone 2 years, and she was still protecting us. Still thinking ahead. Man's still smarter than me. I opened the folder. Official documents. Streft. Signed. Hayes Family Trust. Beneficiaries Nash and the kids. Ben Trutty, Henry Hayes, and one brutal clause. Crude spouse exclusion. Sloane Calloway has 0 claim. 0. Which meant something terrifying. And if she couldn't win legally, she'd find another way. A colder way. Guardianship. Control. Lock Nash away. Lem to convince the world he was incompetent, and if I got in the way, do the same thing to me. Not violence, paperwork, signatures, court orders, make us disappear, legally. Suddenly the videos made perfect sense. She wasn't snooping. She was hunting for this, for anything that could break Rose's protection, and she couldn't find it. Damned, because Rose hid it here, even from me. My wife had built a shield around our family. Means and I'd never even known. Shame burned in my chest, but it hardened into something else. Resolve. Jand, this wasn't confusion anymore. This wasn't suspicion. This was proof. Blam, someone had been planning to erase my son for years. And Rose had quietly prepared for the day we'd have to fight back. I folded the letter carefully. Locked the box. Walked out of the vault feeling different, not scared, clear, focused, being like a man who finally sees the battlefield. Outside, the morning sun felt too bright. I pulled out my phone. Scrolled to an old contact I hadn't called in years. Chance Holt. Attorney. My thumb hovered. Because deep down I knew, once I made this call, there was no going back to normal. No pretending. No more comfortable lies. Whatever Sloane started, I was about to finish. I hit dial. Chase didn't sound surprised. That scared me more than anything. Not confused, not shocked. Just quiet. Blunt, like I'd confirmed something he already knew. I explained everything, the package, the videos, the facility, Rose's letter. Meaned you. When I finished, the line went silent. Then he said softly, "Yo, Henry, come to my office now." No questions. No small talk. Just now, the drive into town felt heavier than usual, like life had quietly shifted overnight. And Chase's office looked the same as always. Same brick building. Same blinds. Same brass. Nameplate. Normal. Too normal. He opened the door himself. Didn't joke. Didn't smile. That's when I knew this wasn't small. Mondai laid everything on his desk. The photo. The letter. The USB. The trust papers. He watched the footage slowly, dance lone moving through my house, opening drawers, photographing documents, methodical, careful, intentional. When it ended, he leaned back, calm. I'm too calm. Rose came to me 3 years ago, he said. My heart stopped. She asked me to set up a trust quietly. Said she had a feeling something wasn't right. A feeling about Sloan. He nodded. She thought Sloan asked too many questions about ownership, money, control. Control. That word stuck. Ben Chase folded his hands. Henry, this isn't just family tension. He looked me straight in the eye. Landa, this is legal control. He spoke slowly. They convince a judge someone can't manage their life. And then they make every decision for them. My chest tightened. Finances, property, medical care, everything. I thought about Nash. Ben locked away, silent. They don't need force, Chase added quietly. They just need signatures. That line chilled me. Paper instead of chains? That facility? He continued. Places like that charge families huge monthly fees. It becomes business. Business. Steve, my own son, reduced to paperwork. And if Sloan has legal authority, he said, she controls every part of Nash's world. And if I question it, and he didn't hesitate. She questions you back. My stomach dropped, confused, forgetful, overwhelmed. It's easy to paint that picture. I suddenly understood. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, official, and almost impossible to fight without proof. Chase opened a drawer and slid a card toward me. Gemdef ORD, Steele. Pretty investigations, former FBI, he said. Now he helps families gather facts when things feel wrong facts. Not accusations, not emotions, facts. If you move forward, Chase added, move carefully. Don't assume anything is private. Bend. After seeing those cameras, I believed him. From now on, he said softly, be selective about who you trust. Manda. Something in his tone made my chest tighten, like he'd seen situations like this before, and situations that got complicated fast. I stepped outside into the sunlight. Everything looked the same, but nothing felt the same. I stared at the card in my hand, 4D Steel. Once I called, there would be no pretending anymore. No comfortable explanations, only answers. And for the first time, I couldn't shake the feeling, brilliant, that this story was bigger than just my family. The knock came after dark, 3 slow taps, nothing else. Knock, knock, knock. Every hair on my arm stood up. Nobody came to the ranch at night. Not neighbors, not deliveries, not family. For a second, I just stared at the door, listening, waiting for another sound. Nothing. My brain finally caught up. Ford. And still, my chest wouldn't loosen. After the cameras, after the lies, any unexpected noise felt wrong. I killed the lights first. Old ranch habit, look out before anyone looks in. Through the window, I saw him standing by the porch rail, tall. Still, cap low, not pacing. Not checking his phone. Just waiting like he'd been there a while. I opened the door halfway. You, Ford? You, Henry? His voice was calm, measured, professional. The kind of calm that made you trust him immediately. He stepped inside and didn't waste a second. Didn't look around like a guest. Didn't admire anything. He assessed. Corners, and windows, ceilings, outlets, every movement quiet and practiced. You live alone? He asked. Yeah, good. Good? Before I could ask what that meant, he pulled a small device from his jacket. black, handheld, antenna. M&DS. He moved room to room slowly, sweeping walls and fixtures, smoke detectors, picture frames, power strips. Meaned, the silence got heavier with every step, and suddenly I couldn't stop picturing those videos. My kitchen, my bedroom, being filmed without me knowing. My own house turned into someone else's screen. My skin crawled. Meant 10 lit. Minutes later, he came verse. Like 10 obvious. Later, he came back. No obvious signals, he said. Then, you know? But don't relax. Believed. The way he said it made my stomach tighten. Means. If someone wants information, he added quietly, they don't always use equipment. He didn't explain. And he didn't have to. Phones, neighbors, casual conversations. The world suddenly felt thin, like walls weren't walls anymore. Just paper. Ford sat at the kitchen table, but never fully relaxed. Back straight, eyes moving. You know. So, he said, start from the beginning. I told him everything. The stranger, the package, the photo, the facility, DeRose's letter, the trust. He didn't interrupt once. Just listened like a man assembling puzzle pieces. Bound. When I finished, he tapped the table lightly. This isn't emotional, he said. It's structured. The word hit different. Dan legal control first, he continued. A beat. Isolation second. I swallowed. Your son cut off. Information filtered. Decisions made for him. He looked at me. That's not panic. Another beat. That's strategy. Hearing it framed like that made it worse. Cleaner, colder. So what now? I asked. We move quiet, he said. Then he leaned forward slightly. Beamed. From this point on, no phones, no messages, no sudden moves. His eyes held mine. Act normal. Assume someone's watching. A chill slid down my spine. You really think so? I think they already have been. The room felt smaller, like the walls had ears. I'll visit the facility tomorrow, he said. Pose as family. Look around, and if they notice, they won't, he said calmly. People hide things best when they think no one suspects anything. He stood to leave, then paused at the door. Blends. If anything feels off, even a little, write it down. Like what? Cars slowing, strange calls, questions that don't make sense. A beat. Trust your instincts. Rose used to say that too. Baines. After he left, the house felt different. Same walls, same furniture, but not safe, not private. Dumdians. Like the air itself was listening. I locked every door, checked every window. Ben sat at the kitchen table, staring at Ford's card. Banned. My world had shrunk to one thought. What if we weren't the only ones investigating? My phone buzzed. Dimmed unknown number. One message. No greeting. No name. Stop asking questions about Nash. That was it. No threats. No drama. Just calm. Certain. Like a reminder. Like someone already knew I'd started digging. My chest tightened. Man, slowly. I looked toward the dark window above the sink. All I could see was my reflection. But for the first time, I wasn't sure if that meant I was alone. The call came the next afternoon. Sloan, like nothing had happened. My chest tightened the second her name flashed on the screen. I let it ring twice before answering. Hey, Henry, she said lightly. Thought the kids could video call Nash tonight. Family time. Family time. Billia. The way she said, it almost made me laugh, like we were normal. Like none of this existed. That's fine, I said. We'll do it here. 6 o'clock. She hung up like it was nothing. But my hands were already shaking. All afternoon I couldn't focus. Missed a nail fixing the fence. Minda nearly dropped a feet bucket. Simple things I'd done my whole life suddenly felt hard. Mend, because one thought kept circling. What if she's right? Oh? What if Nash really is sick? Oh? What if I'm wrong? Being by 5:30, I was already in the truck. Her house looked perfect as always. Fresh paint, trimmed flowers, warm porch light, too perfect, like a model home nobody actually lived in, like a set. Bang knocks crashed into my legs the second I stepped out. Grandpa? Daddy's calling today. You know, his excitement hurt. Yeah, buddy, I said softly. Ivy just watched me, quiet, too observant. Inside, Sloane set the laptop on the counter. Calm, organized, smiling. How have you been, Henry? You're good. It felt like lying to a stranger. Dimly at 6 sharp, the laptop chimed. Minumbing call. My pulse started hammering. The screen flickered, blurry shapes. Then, you know, Nash appeared. Chumyan. Everything else disappeared. It was him, thinner, older, but him, my son. My throat closed instantly. Hey, Dad. Demjan, his voice was rough, but clear, clear. Not slurred, not confused, clear. The kids exploded into chatter. Talking over each other, showing drawings, missing teeth, school stories. And Nash followed everything, answered everything. Names, dates, details. Perfect. No hesitation, no fog, no patient, just Nash, present, aware. Himself. My chest tightened. Janed. This wasn't someone who needed supervision. Then he looked at me, not past me, at me. And something changed. His smile faded slightly. His eyes sharpened, focused. Like he was trying to say something without saying it. He blinked twice, slow, deliberate, tapped his fingers lightly against his chest. Once, twice, then glanced off to the side. Man, quick, careful. Back to me, my heart started racing. He wasn't fidgeting, he was signaling. Dad, pay attention. Everything good over there? I asked casually. Yeah, he said fast. Too fast. Same routine. Same schedule. Routine. Schedule. Bland's rehearsed words behind him. Plain walls, fluorescent lights, no window, no pictures, no life. Not a home. A room. Man's just a room. Sloane stepped closer to the laptop, smiling too wide. See? He's doing great. Great. Nash's eyes never left mine, and in that look was something I'll never forget. Retugation. Relief. Bence, like he'd been waiting years for me to finally see him. Hang in there, son, I said quietly. He gave the smallest nod, barely there, but deliberate. The call ended 10 minutes later. Too fast. The screen went black. Knox kept talking. Ivy hugged the laptop like it might bring him back. Sloane closed it gently. All things considered, she said sweetly, he's stable. Stable. I stared at her. Dales. Because now I knew my son wasn't sick. He wasn't confused. He wasn't broken. He was trapped. And he just asked me for help without saying a word. Outside, the air felt colder. Heavier. Marines. If they could lie this easily, how long had he been stuck there? And how much longer did he have? The courtroom felt colder than the facility. Too bright, too quiet, too clean. Like a place where lives got decided in whispers. I hadn't slept. Beamed. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Nash on that screen. Blink, tap, help me. Bang Chase stood beside me, flipping through a thin folder like this was routine. Bond. Across the aisle, Sloane sat with three lawyers, three dark suits, perfect hair, stacked binders. They looked prepared. Bamdrins like they'd already won. Sloane caught my eye and gave me that same soft smile she used at holidays. Dent warm, practiced, empty, calculation. At 9 sharp, the judge entered. Everyone stood, sat, and just like that, my life turned into paperwork. Sloane's lead attorney stood first, smooth voice, gentle tone. Mins, Your Honor, we're concerned for Mr. Hayes' well-being. In recent months, he's shown confusion, memory issues, and paranoia about his own family. Paranoia. The word echoed in the room like a diagnosis. He believes people are watching him, breaking into his home. He's made extreme accusations regarding his son's care. A few people glanced at me, like I was fragile. Like I was unstable. We're requesting a competency evaluation and temporary control of his estate for his protection. Protection. Funning word for a takeover. My hands clenched. Chase touched my arm lightly. Wait. He stood, calm, steady. Ling, Your Honor, if Mr. Hayes sounds paranoid, it's because someone has given him a reason to be. He turned the laptop. Permission to present security footage. Sloane's lawyer jumped up fast. Objection. We haven't verified the source of these recordings. Chain of custody? The judge asked. Chase slid a document forward. Time-stamped. A pause. My heart hammered. Man, if she blocked this, if the videos didn't play, we had nothing. The judge nodded once. Proceed. The screen lit up. My kitchen. Empty. Tamage blinking. Then Sloane unlocking my door. Walking straight to my files. Den photographing documents. Click, click, click. The room shifted. You could feel it. Second video. Basement. Boxes opened. Searching. Bentley and her lawyer stood again. Your Honor, she has a key. These could simply be welfare checks. Chase didn't raise his voice. Welfare checks don't involve photographing property deeds. Silence. More clips. Quick cuts now. Different days. Same behavior. Same mission. Not checking. Hunting. The judge leaned forward. Eyes narrowing. Being Miss Calloway, she said evenly, how often do you enter this home without notifying Mr. Hayes? Sloane smiled. Gently, I was helping family, helping. The word sounded thin. Chase moved fast. Amending, Your Honor, we also request the court speak directly with Nash Hayes today. That landed like a brick. Dambia Sloane turned sharply, whispering to her lawyers. Too fast, too tense. Objection, her attorney said. Transport could distress him. Ma'am, the judge didn't blink. If he's as impaired as you claim, the evaluation will confirm it. Gavel. And bring him in. 2 hours. Longest 2 hours of my life. Every tick of the clock felt louder. Bland. What if they coached him? What if they kept him from speaking? What if something went wrong? Then the doors opened. They wheeled Nash in a chair he didn't need. My jaw tightened. Lanes. Even now they were trying to sell the image, but his eyes were alive, sharp, present. Man, he saw me and something in him softened, like he'd finally reached shore. And the court psychiatrist took him to a side room. 15 minutes. 15 endless minutes. My heart wouldn't slow. Finally, the doctor returned. Sat. Open a folder, Your Honor. Mr. Hayes is fully competent. The air left my lungs. He communicates clearly, shows no cognitive impairment. In my opinion, he does not require guardianship. Murmurs filled the room. Ban Sloane's lawyer started talking at once. Too fast, too messy. But then, Nash stood up on his own, walked forward, no assistance, no hesitation. "My name is Nash Hayes," he said. His voice was rough, but steady. "Mend, I asked to leave that facility. I was told it wasn't recommended." Silence. "I asked to call my father. They said it wasn't necessary." My hands trembled. Every decision about my life went through my wife. Banned. He looked straight at the judge. "I wasn't sick. I was controlled. You could have heard a pin drop." No one moved. No one breathed. The judge studied Sloane for a long time. Not angry. Not loud. Just. "Finished. Guardianship terminated," she said. The gavel cracked. "Effective immediately." My knees nearly gave out. "Petition regarding Henry Hayes. Dismissed." Another crack. Just like that, 3 years of lies collapsed. But when I looked at Sloane, she wasn't crying. Wasn't angry. She was staring straight ahead, cold, empty, like she was already calculating something else. Come, like this wasn't the end. Just a setback. A chill ran through me. Chase clapped my shoulder. "It's over," he said quietly. "Maybe, maybe not." But Nash stepped toward me, and I didn't think anymore. I just pulled my son into my arms. First time in 3 years. It's true. And for a moment, just one moment, the world felt right again. The ranch sounded different that morning. Not quieter. And fuller. Footsteps in the hallway, cabinet doors closing, Ketnock's laughing somewhere near the kitchen. Beans for 3 years, every sound in this house echoed. One plate, one chair, one voice. Now. Life, messy. Loud, alive. Leans, for the first time in a long time, it felt like a home again. Nash stood at the kitchen window with a cup of coffee, staring out at the fields. Baines. Same posture he'd had as a teenager. Same quiet thinking face, morning light on his shoulders. And for a second, I didn't see the man from that gray room. I just saw my kid, back where he belonged. "You sleep?" I asked. "A little," he said. "Bed's too soft." I laughed. It was such a normal complaint, it almost broke me. Behind us, Knox raced past with a toy truck. Engine noises. Crashing sounds. Ivy followed slower, watching her dad every few seconds. Like if she looked away, he might disappear again. Nash noticed. He crouched and opened his arms. She ran into him so hard they almost fell over. And just like that, 3 years melted into 10 seconds. Kids don't care about courtrooms. They just want their parent back. I stepped out onto the porch. Morning air. Fresh grass. Fence line stretching forever. Band. Same land. Rose and I built everything on. Same land. Someone almost stole with signatures and lies. Damned. Inside. I could still hear them laughing. That sound. That was the real victory. My phone buzzed. Chase. "Facilities being investigated," he said. "Other families are talking now." Good and Sloane? A pause. "Menjin. She won't be causing problems anymore." That was enough for me. Jeans. When I went back inside, Nash was standing by Rose's photo on the mantel, reading her letter. "Fight for our son." He traced the paper gently. "She knew," he said. "Yeah," I replied. "She always did." Mans. We stood there quietly for a moment. Then he said something soft. "I thought you forgot about me." That one hurt. More than the courtroom, more than the lies. I shook my head. "Never." "I tried to get word out," he said. "Mend, I know." A small pause. "You came. Just that. You came." Like it explained everything. Like it was enough. Junox yelled from the kitchen. "Grandpa, pancakes!" Yonash laughed. The same old laugh. I hadn't heard it in years. We walked in together, side by side. Later that night, after everyone was asleep, I sat alone at the kitchen table. Same oak surface, same scratches, bends. But it didn't feel heavy anymore. Funny how life changes on small things. A knock, a key, a phone call. Me and if I'd ignored any of them, my son wouldn't be home. Sometimes the worst prisons don't have bars, just paperwork and smiles. From down the hallway, I heard Nash cough in his sleep. A normal sound, a living sound, claimed it. The kind you only notice when you almost lose it. I leaned back, clunist my eyes, and for the first time in 3 years, I wasn't waiting for something bad to happen. My family was home, and this time I was paying attention.